All right. This is this is day 3 of starting a new letters company or business or project, right? We don't Everybody tries to call it a business. I'm not against. At this point, I don't care about labels really. All that matters is, are you getting customers? What's your revenue? What's your profit? How much work is it? Is it worth the squeeze, So I do think as I'm building this, big caveat if anyone's following along is and wants to do something similar. And this is definitely the hardest part, is having an idea and then it's really, and then executing. So basically it's really easy to see someone doing something and hear, oh, they're making X amount of revenue, and then saying, oh, I can easily do that. Like, that looks so simple. Let me just copy them and do the exact same thing. So that's why I'm such a firm believer of, you can talk about your idea, your business, anything. For someone to execute, it's going to be so difficult, and that's where most things fail. It's just the idea is really good, but the execution is either beyond their skill level. They don't have the right resources. They don't have the investment or the capital to actually even try and launch it successfully. So that's one of the key factors here, is that as I try a lot of these projects, I do have my main company, which is my main bread and butter. And that's where I implore everyone following along. The series is Letters to My Rich Self, which is just me sharing financial advice and investment advice and business advice via snail mail. So like, I type out letters, interview somebody very interesting, read a book about business or anything that can actually help you on this journey. A lot of it really isn't business psychology and learning about people and emotions and handling your own emotions. It's so important. I've gotten so far by just handling my own emotions, especially once you start managing people, you start dealing with your relationships with your investors, with your partners. That really comes into play. So super important. As I start doing this, I do have, like I said, my own job, my own business, and I go to work every day and I clock in and I have to, you know, show up. And it's beautiful because then this side project, I do it with the passion of it being a fun side project, right? Like, just something that I want to test and see what happens, versus, oh my gosh, I need this to work. I have no income. I have X amount of money left, and this has to work, which I think is also a great strategy, maybe, but I can't operate in that manner. I prefer to do things, at the speed that I want to, and do things that are exciting. And a lot of these things, like this letter business, might not work. It might not make money, but I thought, man, how freaking cool would it be if I get to talk about business, talk about finance, get to share insights about how I got here that I'd love to share. And, somebody that was 22 when I started, it would help them so much if they would have had something like this from someone they could trust. But like I said, it might not work, but I'm here for the journey, and I hope you enjoy it. So day 3, here's where I'm at so far. I have my website, I have my logo, which is just no logo, and I have set up a easy peasy account, which lemon peasy. Here, let me share that. I think I can share it. So this is basically a merchant portal. This allows me to collect payments online. So it'll help me go ahead and set up my cart. And with that, what it allows me to do is, like I said, it lets me just basically set up a cart. So I'm waiting to get final approval, but basically, let's see. This is how my checkout looks. And so this is what I needed to connect to my website that I quickly shot up on card, which is some type of checkout. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, this logo doesn't matter for now. That's perfect. I just need someone to be able to go ahead and select that, hey, I want to do the letters with you. I want you to mail me twice a month. And so you get a click here, put in your billing information, and then it's a $10 subscription a month. Yeah. So you'll see your subscription here, $9.99 a month. Next invoice due, what your payment is, your billing information, payment methods, anything you've paid in the past, and then you can cancel, pause, anything like in this little portal. So this is Lemon Squeezy. It was actually acquired by Stripe, which is the other one I was going to use. But Lemon Squeezy, I think the main differentiator between Stripe was they collect all the tax information for you and file it correctly as you're doing like digital products and online, and people buying from just all over the domestic United States. It handles all of that for you, so you don't have to worry about it. And that was a big feature that I cared to have. That is lemon squeezy. And yeah, I'm excited. So what are my next steps? So realistically, the next steps that I need to do is I need to acquire customers, right? So that's like the biggest thing that I need to do. And the second biggest thing I need to do is create the first few letters or even the first letters, which means I have to read a book that I'm passionate about, which I already think I know which one it's going to be. It's called the Art of Content or the Art of War. My friend Bren and Ivo had been reading it and highly recommended it. But it's such a good, interesting book, simple read, and there's just a lot of just golden nuggets in there. I kind of was reading it like a few pages a day, so I'm gonna pick that one. I already have a head start, and I'm just gonna finish it. But that one's amazing. Second is I want to interview someone that I can share in the letter with. And so the type of people that I love is I have always been inspired and fascinated by everyone you read about, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, all of these like Airbnb, Brian Chesky, let me see, Bolt, American Express, Visa, Charles Schwab, all of these amazing figures that are even like WeWork, DoorDash, right? All of these business owners, Danny Mayers with restaurants and Michelin starred. So all these companies that are really big, and here's my theory on this, and this is why I love Scott Galloway's like dry take on this, which is assume you're not one of them. Assume you're not the 1%, just to be safe, to hedge your bets. Assume you're not Michael Jordan, you're not Kobe, you're not LeBron, like you're just not the best. If you were the best, you'd already be there, right? It's kind of like the theory. So just assume you're average. But there's nothing wrong with being average. Actually, you want to be average. You want to be so good at being average because then you build consistency, and consistency is what gets you up, right? Seth Smith wrote this amazing article on like how to be consistent. That's actually this would be someone I would love to interview. I think she's like such a big inspiration. She's so good at writing. She's so enthusiastic about these like side fun quests. But she wrote this: how to be great, just be good, repeatedly, right? And so her whole thesis is basically greatness isn't instantaneous, greatness is earned, right? It's hard to be consistent. Consistency. No one who can rise before dawn 360 days a year fails to make his family rich. So like basically if you can consistently the whole year wake up early, you're going to do something amazing because you have that built in. You can do something for a prolonged amount of time, which in theory just skyrockets your opportunity for success, because sometimes most things it's just if you keep at it long enough, you'll figure it out, you'll iterate, you'll discover something new, you'll get a customer, and then it starts snowballing, right? It's like a hockey stick. So rarely does success in anything look like that. So, there's nothing that's just crazy. Like, I mean, it's so hard to do. But she goes on, talks about the grand scheme of things, because you only can ever see two steps out. So in life, if there's 100 series of happiness, of course, life is more complicated and dynamic, but let's just say you're on tier 57. You may also be able to see tier 58 and 59, but I think it's nearly impossible to fully empathize or even comprehend level 21, and similarly 89, unless, of course, you've been there before. Even if you have it, it becomes a distant memory that's difficult to fully internalize. Remember, is always at play. So why is that important? Everyone wishes to elevate their life in association, their happiness. For us to reach those top tiers, we cannot just hope for this to just happen. We must expose ourselves to various inputs that may lead to better outputs and train ourselves to recognize what's working. So basically, the gist of this is what I've kind of preaching right now. So like, you can't speculate, you can't dream, you can't imagine, you just need to do action, have a plan, and be consistent at it. So that's why even with me starting this project, which is, hey, I want to create a letter series about finance, help, first generation immigrants, Latinos, Hispanics, especially because we have been the ones to suffer the most of just not having this type of information readily available. And I think there's so much amazing, great things that can come from being financial literacy and understanding investing, and kind of having a great game plan at wealth, which in our culture, we don't talk about it much. And so I think we need the help out of almost everyone. And that's what I'm really focused on, is how do I help them? Just because I am them, right? I grew up like that. I didn't have access to all this information. And because of the internet and because of YouTube and, just my interest in this, I was able to just see with my own eyes and see someone else that looked like me achieving these amazing feats and this different lifestyle and living life to the fullest, which inspired me tremendously. So I want to be that for people. But the biggest thing to do is to not dwell on logos. It's to not dwell on what should I be doing? How's the envelope going to look? How do I format my letter? How is it looking? How do I design it? No, it's just build the first letter. It could just be a terrible typed letter, just a blank piece of paper. And if the content is good, that's what matters. Like, is my writing, what I'm delivering, useful? That's the most important thing, because that is the product at the end of the day, which is I want you to learn everything I've learned that has allowed me to go from I dropped out of college, started a business, made no income for the first 2 years, then now have made the most money I've ever made in my life. I have equity, I have stocks. Again, I have to. I'm in crypto. I have purchased 2 homes, and all of it is just from making the right steps, and they take long. It took me 7 years to buy my first home, but now my second home, I bought it within almost a year and a half apart from each other. So see, it's like the hockey stick again. So first one took 7 years, second one much faster. And a lot of it is just because of these smart decisions that one can make in saving, right? It's super powerful, even $100, $200 here and there, and living below your means, and picking be rich in certain areas. So like, to me, one thing that makes me feel rich is I don't care what I eat. I know that I can afford it. Can I eat out every day and fancy restaurants and splurge and go out? And I'm not a huge drinker, but drink every day, it's like, no. But the one, twice, 3 times a month that I do it, I can do it, baby. If I have to fly somewhere, I can do it. I don't do it often. Well, right now not for work, but I'm helping manage my parents' Airbnb in California. So I'm flying from LA to Austin every single week. So this is the most I've ever been on a plane. So I'm doing that. But if I want to fly somewhere for a vacation or something, spend $1,000, $2,000, I can do it, So that is what makes me feel rich. And that's what I have chosen to be rich. I don't really have a nice car or anything like that, but that will come later. I do want a nice car. I'm not one of those people. It's like, oh, I don't care about, I'll drive a Nissan. No, trust me, I want the S-Class. I want the Porsche. I want a beautiful Ferrari or sports car or a Lambo, like the off-road looking one. I think it's like the Strada or something like that. But that'll all come soon. It's all about making smart decisions. Right now, it's not worth it, right? It's better to have your money make you more money. So yeah, point is, for day 3 today, I'm going to focus on writing my letter. So I'm going to rough draft it, outline it, and create the final letter that I'll be sending for my first one. And then I need to pick who I'm going to interview, and then the book I already have. So I have to summarize that and read it, right? So I'm going to try to do that. On top of that, I also am building another letter, which is more of a story. I also bought bookletters.com, which is, I want to mail you a letter. I want to mail you a whole book and a story in 2 letters a month, same thing. And it's telling a cool story. And that'll be for a different demographic. But since this is a business channel and a finance, I kind of want to also bring you along for the journey of building that out too. It's going to be a whole separate business. But again, I love this letter idea right now, and I'm super fascinated by it. So I'll kind of document that. I've never really considered myself like a writer, but there's no better time than now. And I have AI tools to help guide me, which is really just all editors are, right? Again, AI, people think, oh, it can't be creative for you. It's like, no, I'm creative. I just need, in something like writing, someone to go, hey, this is great. The idea is great. The concept's great, but here's how you would format it for a reader. Again, at the end of the day, reading a book is all about a plot line. So we're used to it. Life is unpredictable. And I just read this. I've been watching a bunch of podcasts about how to write. Life's unpredictable. And that's kind of the juxtaposition of writing. In a book, you can't be unpredictable. It has to be a hero. He has a journey, he has conflicts, and there's a resolution, right? And this keeps happening in the book. And against all odds, that character is going to either achieve his goal or not achieve his goal, right? And there's ways to set it up. There's ways to frame it. There's, do you go, I think it was like, the scope is, do you talk about the character and set up the where he's at, the storyline in a macro sense, and then you have to go micro, which is, instead of describing my character and taking like 100 pages to do so, I would instead just focus on his apartment and all the tiny details that speak volumes about your character, right? So again, there's a pattern. Life's unpredictable. In book writing, there is a pattern. This is another fun journey. And I guess how maybe I'll start it on YouTube too, and I'll just call it a different series. This is all tied in to business and finance because at the end of the day, I'm here to hopefully help and teach everyone or just share kind of what I've learned and have gotten here. And if out of anything I can get of this is just I want an excuse to finally get to interview people. And I think this is something where I'm finally really excited and passionate about, which is, let's write some letters, let's help people. As always, can I build a business around it? And then, yeah, do I get to meet amazing people because of my idea, which is just, I thought of it, right? Like, I think that's the coolest thing is that the power of words and an idea and an excitement and getting to meet strangers, which I think we don't do enough, going out there and talking to people and how powerful words are and just saying, hey, I admire you. I'm doing this. I'm here in my journey. I would love to just speak to you about blank. And people respond and go, yes, hey, I'll share some 10, 20 minutes of my day with you. And that can change my life. That can change your life. And I'm super excited to get to opportunity to do that. Right. So I'm super blessed and yeah, super excited. So that was day 3. That was another little rant of try to be a bit more informative, more educational with some of these videos. But yeah, stick along. Thank you. And drop in the comments anything that you want to talk about. I can sprinkle it in. Or if you wanted to sign up for the letter, what's some of the, financial information that you're like, I've always wanted to know this. Definitely going to talk about compound interest. Definitely going to talk about saving. Definitely going to talk about like just saving accounts and why maybe that's not the best strategy. Roth IRA, a Roth account, and then I've never done it, but a 401k I think is also quite important. I don't have like a company to match it. It's my own company. We're not there yet to do the stuff like that for our entire team and ourselves, but a lot of companies that maybe you're working at, they'll match your 401k, whatever you put in there. So that's a huge advantage. Anything that your company's going to match, it's like you need to be doing it. Yeah, excited. Day 3. Letters to my rich self. Follow along. Adios.